Okay guys, Marty and I are headed up to the farm and we are going to do a little different video. So what we're going to bring to you is a camping organization, because Marty and I want to go tent camping and I haven't been tent camping in a long time. So we are going to go up to the farm and dig out all of our camping stuff. And I used to have it organized at one time, and I had bought some big Pelican cases and stored everything in it so it was watertight, and I could just throw it in the back of the truck and then we could throw the 3 cases in the back of the truck and roll on. But now it's, over the years, has been scattered out and I'm not really sure what's where. So let's start this organizing of a tent camping trip. Mind you, this trip is not a roughing the backwoods camping trip. This is what I call a car camper. In other words, the semi-luxuries of home, but we'll bring it to you. Okay, so let's do this quickly because I don't want to bore you. So we are at the farm. I've managed to get everything out so I can look at it and see what's been dispersed where, who's taken what. My 18-year-old son has walked off with stuff, so it is what it is. But let's start with a list. So let this be somewhat of a checklist of things you're going to need to take your wife or somebody who's not really sure about camping, so you can have all the creature comforts of home and at least be very comfortable. So here we go. All right, let's start out with what you're going to sleep in. So my personal favorite is this tent right here that I picked up from Walmart online. It actually has a room that is closable right here. You can see inside. And then this is like a screened in porch. So in case you hit bad weather, you got a place to go, like a porch. And these sides, everything here actually zips up to seal it into 2 rooms. If you have another couple with you, for instance, you want to have another room. I also have this Ozark Trail tent that I got from Walmart that is a little on the pricey side, but it's a 14-person tent and it is amazing. It's shaped like a cross, and inside has like a big living area, and then there's 4 rooms that tee or cross off of it. And I have yet to even put this together, but for the most part, if you have a big group of people and nobody has a tent, or either you all want to sleep together in the same place and what have you, there you go, that's good. But anyhow, here's my tent of choice. It's a little big, it's a little takes some time to put together, but that's just how I roll rather than a small tent. All right, next off, this isn't necessary, but it's something that I bought from when we were up here at the farm and we really had no place to go and use the restroom, especially the ladies. So this is a little miniature stand-up, single person stand-up, or either you can put a little bathroom toilet right here and you can zip in it and have privacy. It also allows you to go up here and hang one of those solar showers, I guess you would call it. It doesn't take up a lot of space at all, but it does allow you to go somewhere and zip inside and be private if you do have to use the number 2. This is the toilet that I got with it, and it is very, I don't want to say flimsy because I've used it before, but it's very, it'll work. So that toilet goes inside of this little bathroom, and you can use it to your liking. All right, so there's that. So now we got the tent and the bathroom. So I have these storm cases. This is what it looks like. It's just a big old storm case. You can go on Army Supply or any government place that sells stuff and you can pick up these storm cases, or you can actually buy them. They're very expensive, but I got fortunate enough to get these for cheap through what they call Dermo. So you got to have, or at least it's nice to have something to put everything in on your trip to wherever you're going, because it stays dry. And I have 2 of them, one here and one here. And Madi is pulling out a sunshade, which I don't use camping, but I have it packed. It's shaped like a triangle, but it's not very big, so it doesn't really work that well as far as keeping the rain off or anything, no. But I do have a 10 by 10, you know, those types of tents that you use for tailgating, for instance. I have one of those, and I have taken it camping before, but not necessary. Something else that's very important is a tarp, if not a couple of them. So I have this big tarp here with all the strings already tied to all the eyes, and I take this big tarp and I stretch it amongst the trees, and then I always put my tent underneath it. Why do you do that? Especially if you have a rain tarp already that comes with the tent, or either it is a waterproof tent, is because you never want to pack up your tent, because we're talking about weekend camping now, guys. So when you have a long weekend, that's one thing, but when you have 2 days and then you're packing up and getting out, you tend to get up Sunday morning, pack up and get out. But when you pack up, your tent usually has dew on it or night air. It's still damp. It has some type of moisture on it. And you never want to pack up a tent wet, period. Trust me, you'll learn if you do. So I always pitch this tarp and then put my tent underneath it. I also will take this tarp, which isn't very big, but it's big enough, and I put it underneath the tent. So the bottom of the tent doesn't get dirty, or if it does rain, it's somewhat clean when you pack it up. So if you get up in the morning and it's raining, or it's just been raining some point in time over the weekend, you're going to have to pack your tent up. In this case, I don't pack it up like I'm packing it away until next time. I just throw it in a garbage bag, and I have to take it home and I reset it up or set it back up to air out and dry on the next sunny day, which is hopefully the next day. But you never ever want to pack up your tent while it's wet. Okay, so some other things we have. I have a Coleman lantern that runs off of the propane bottle, which is this right here. So I have actually multiples. I have everything that runs off of gas, and I have everything that runs off of Coleman fuel, which is the liquid fuel. I tend to have shied away from the liquid fuel and going more towards the bottles. So I have a lantern that runs off of gas. So you want to have light when you're camping, and you can go out and buy little lights and battery powered lights and stuff as well. I also have this cook set, which is a pot, 2 pots, a pan, and then a lid that covers everything. So it pretty much covers everything. You can cook something up in the frying pan, or you can boil stuff up, make macaroni and cheese or pasta, you name it, in the pots. So you have something to cook in. You got to have pots and pans. Okay, next is a camp stove that runs off of, again, the gas bottle. It has 2 burners, has an electric or automatic ignition, so you don't need matches or anything to start it. And with this you can cook, and of course you can always cook over the campfire, so you have that choice. This right here is my Coleman lantern that runs off of fuel. But like I said, I tend to get away from these. And this is also my cook stove, is equal to the one I just showed you. But this one runs off of fuel as well. And if you've never seen one of these are the old school ones that got the red tank in it that you have to put the fuel in it. You have to pump it up with the pump that's right there. And then it pressurizes the fuel, runs through the line. As it gets heated over the burner, it turns into gas. And from there, it lights. Now, don't get me wrong, it works. But in my laziness, noticed in fuel is the O-rings and the gaskets that help pressurize or what have you wear out. So you have to go buy new ones. The mantles, they're mantles or mantles when it comes to the gas, the propane, or either the liquid. But they've got to be maintained, or either you got to keep spares with you, because if you pack up your lantern and the next time you take it out, the mantles are probably broken, or usually they're broken, and you need to replace them. So in the bottom of the case right here, for instance, I always keep, in this black part, I always keep a couple of bags of extra mantles. So we have the cook stove, so we have something to cook in, something to cook on, and something to put on the picnic table to light up the area and that lantern's pretty bright. We have a place to sleep, which is the tent. We have a tarp that goes over the tent and a tarp that goes underneath the tent to keep it clean and mostly, for the most part, dry. All right, lastly, I have a third storm case that I have up here at the cabin that I just leave here on the porch and keep everything I need in it that I cook with. Just that simple. It's not organized, but I'm going to look through it and make sure that it's got stuff that I need. So check this out, okay? Because this is kind of important as well. So in here is stuff that you might be able to use and might not be able to use. For instance, the griddle, the big griddle right here. If your campsite has power, then you're going to love this for cooking breakfast. You got a frying pan, you've got bowls to mix things in, what have you, if you're making hamburgers. You have a measuring cup. I have a bunch of utensils, whether it be for cooking eggs or spooning out vegetables or mac and cheese. I have a couple different pots. I have the old-time coffee percolator, which is right here, that works off the campfire actually, but you can put it on your stove. Believe it or not, I have a radio in here. I have a cutting board. There's a knife. And then I used to take this to one extra step. I bought one of these little fishing things from Walmart. And in it, which there's nothing in it now, but I used to take this and put in forks, knives, and spoons. And of course, here's toothpicks. Extra Ziploc bags for whatever you might need them for. And this had all my eating utensils in it, which were a little, I know it sounds hokey, but it was just organized. So when you needed it, there it was. And then when you wanted to go camping, all you would do is just throw these 1, 2, 3 boxes in your truck, and you knew you had everything and you would roll with it. So I also have the gas down here on the bottom where I'm tapping is my gas cooker with 2 burners that you hook the bottle to. I also mounted inside this box, believe it or not, just a paper towel holder. So I had paper towels when I would go to cook. I just opened it up on the back of my tailgate, got out what I needed, cooked, put everything back after I washed it, and closed it up and left it in the back of the truck. And I would roll on. Okay, so here we have everything it is to build the tent. We have the tarps and all that, which I think we just went through. So boom, that's it. I'm putting all my cooking stuff in here, and lamps and stoves and everything to cook with, and pots and pans will go in here. The third box, I have just all the knick-knack stuff, like ashtrays and the little skewer things for marshmallows, forks, knives, toothpicks, napkins, pots and pans of different types in case I ever want to fry fish or what have you. And another thing to put on your checklist is our chairs, which you can't really see them, but get you some cheap chairs or comfortable chairs. I've got some inside my cabin I will show you that I got off of Walmart for a little over $20, which are phenomenal. So when you buy these cheap $5, $10 chairs from Lowe's or Walmart, when you sit in them, you're sitting straight up and it is not comfortable at all. You can spend $25, I think they are, and I'll show them to you. Okay, this is the chair I was telling you about. It's wider here to here, much wider actually, and it actually leans back so it's more comfortable. And this little stool is another Walmart cheapie. You can sit in this thing and put your feet up, and you can see how much room I have on each side of me. Of course, 2 cup holders. They make them with pockets on the side now. They make them with everything. So get you one of these chairs a lot. And they lean back actually a little bit, and they're wider, and they support 300 pounds. So they're bigger, beefier, and they actually have a carry strap so you can carry them if you need to go somewhere. But they're not heavy at all, don't get me wrong. So those are good camping chairs. So the little incidental things I'm trying to think of, chairs. I'm going to take you over here to the wood shack and show you that you've got to stock up for firewood. You got to have matches or lighter. You've got to have something to start a fire with, whether it be a starter log or you got fat lighter like we have here, and I have a ton of fat lighter. I'll show that to you here in just a second. So everything is pretty organized to my surprise, quickly for a camping trip. Now, since it's been so long since Marty and I have been, or Marty and I have ever been camping. Marty and I have never been camping, but since I've been camping, either with the boys or I grew up camping. I was in the Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts and you name it. And it's actually raining now. I can't believe it. All right, stand by. Okay, this is my wood shack that I built this summer, or actually this fall. Anyhow, it's not very old. And I've kind of put some wood in it from a hurricane we had last hurricane season. Had quite a few trees here on the property fall, and I logged them up. But I've managed to harvest what we call fat lighter. So this is what fat lighter looks like. It is all of this stuff right here that we've cut into kindling, and it's like pure gasoline. So you got to have something to get your fire going so you're not struggling. Now, with that being said, fat lighter is a dime a dozen out here where we are, and it's a matter of chopping up a stump, and then you can see in the back of this here, there's still big short pieces that I got to split up, but they split real easy into this. But it's natural fire starter. It's just tons of it, and we love it because we always have a fire going up here. So I'll grab a handful of this to take camping. But there's also the starter logs that you can buy at Walmart. You can actually buy the starter, the fat lighter, probably at Walmart. I know you can get it online at Amazon, but it's like, I don't know, $8 or $10 for a handful bundle, which is, to me, a crime to sell it for that when you can go find it for free in the woods. But anyhow, so we will pack up some fat lighter and we will pack up firewood. Now, if you go to a nice campground, they probably sell it. Like it's a I wouldn't even say a state campground, but if you go to like Smoky Mountain National Park, they have stores there that sell bundles of firewood. Where we're going to go is they've got nothing, no water, no power, no nothing, but it's very close to the house, so we can knock it out. Here's another box I got, but I keep this at the cabin right here. We call this the lunch box because I usually throw everything that pertains to lunch in here when it comes to bread and drinks and stuff. But in this box is one or two things that are essential for camping. One would be an extension cord. So in case you go to a campsite where you have power and water, you want to be able to run an extension cord possibly in your tent for a TV if you decide to take a digital TV. Another thing in here is this little fishing box that I bought, and I keep matches in it, toothpicks, lighters, extra mantles, believe it or not, are in here, and some other little knickknacks. The matches, I've got extra mantles for the Coleman lantern. I've got actually a thermocell insert, toothpicks, and a lighter. And this, believe it or not, is a waterproof case. So if it does rain or you leave this out at night, you can keep your matches dry because you're going to need matches. Another thing in here, and probably the last thing, is this stuff right here. These are Pine Mountain. You can get them from Amazon. They're starter logs. They break into 1, 2, 3. There's 4 logs here. So if you light this and put it on a fire and put all your firewood on top of it, 99.9% of the time, it's going to catch it and it's going to get it burning. You're going to have a nice fire without having to do it the old-fashioned way of rubbing sticks together and trying to get everything going and praying that you can get a fire. So with that being said, fire, I'm not going to teach you how to make fire because fire is a masterful art in itself, but start off small and work yourself up. So that'll go on the camping trip. Now I'm going to leave it in that box now, so when we're up here on the weekend, we'll need the matches up here at least. I could probably go on and on, but I think that is pretty much it in a nutshell. Just don't forget your firewood. You need firewood and something to get that fire going, whether it be a starter log or the fat lighter. Okay, one thing we have to talk about is food. So how do you prepare for that? I figured, well, at least the way my head is wired, the easiest thing to do is to get a piece of paper and a pencil. In my case, I use an Excel spreadsheet, and I lay out my menu. So we're going to arrive Friday afternoon, so we need Friday night's dinner. Saturday morning, what's for breakfast? Saturday for lunch, what's for lunch? Saturday dinner, and then Sunday breakfast, and then after that you're packing up probably and headed home. But you have to plan your menu out. And if you're going to do hamburgers, say Saturday night or Friday night, that's your hamburger meat, your buns, and you have to just think it out. All your condiments, whatever you want. And then what are you going to have with your hamburgers? Something simple like a bag of potato chips. And there's your list. I usually on one night, which is usually Saturday night, cook a good meal. So I'm talking ribeyes, baked potatoes wrapped in foil, throw them right into coals on the fire and cook your baked potatoes in the fire and then grill you some ribeyes. So with that being said, how do you grill? I take my grill. So I have a Weber kettle that I will gut out and lay it upside down in the back of my truck. And I take that grill with me, laying down, and it goes with me to the campsite. Now, some campsites have the built-in grill, so you can grill right there. I'm not fond of that. Or you can make you a tinfoil dinner. You're gonna have to look all this stuff up, but plan your menu out. Have a decent sized cooler with plenty of ice if it's hot, and stock it up. Don't go crazy. Don't go putting a gallon of milk in there if you're going to use maybe a cup or two of milk. Just portion it out if you have milk at the house and bring it with you. For cereal, so if you're going to grab a half a bag of cereal from the house or what have you. The simplest of things make it easier, but then again, I enjoy cooking while I'm camping, so get to throw that out there and enjoy the creature comforts of home by cooking a nice meal. Anyhow, cooler and food, plan your menu. All right, so we managed to empty the box. Marty's out there scrubbing it. It's totally empty, but everything's right here on the table. And again, unorganized. But one thing I didn't fail to mention was grab you a gallon Ziploc bag and fill it with a scrub brush, a scour pad, some little thing of Dawn dishwashing soap, and a washcloth, you name it, to do dishes. You want to be able to clean your stuff after you're done cooking, and be able to take a ducky bath or whatever you want to do. So when you heat up water, you can put it in a big bucket and sponge off if you don't have a place to take a shower. So that should do it. Okay, one other thing you need to bring is water. So you can do dishes. I mean, if you're camping on the lake, you're golden because you got the lake. If you're camping in a campground where they have water, you're golden. But if you're going where we're going, for instance, we have nothing. So I have this big 5-gallon water jug that you can lay down on a table and just use it as a spout and get your water. Or you can buy, if you don't have one of these, or get one of these, you can get one of these. This is made by Coleman, and it holds 4 gallons or maybe even 5 gallons of water. And you can fill this up, and it has a little spout on it where you can drain the water out. So if you lay it over like this, you can open it up and get water out of it. And also it has this little hook that comes with it, so you can hang it and use it as your shower bag if you want to use the shower in that little tent thing that I showed you. So it's got all kinds of uses. You can hang it from a tree, run a hose from it. You can do all kinds of things, but water, you got to have water. If you're going to be where bugs are, you got to have bug spray. Get the Deep Woods, whatever you can find. It says, like this one says Sportsman. It means that you can get in the woods with it because you're a sportsman. 25% DEET. Of course, we all know how DEET works, but it's good because if you get into a mess of mosquitoes, you're going to wish you had it. Mosquito spray, okay? All right, so that's all you need. That's all you need. So I don't know if that's everything because, like I said, it's been a while since we've been camping. But on our next trip, which is hopefully next weekend, we'll have all this stuff and have it all laid out and set up so we can go through the video one more time. Anyhow, I hope this was helpful. We'll bring it to you next time. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.